Alright guys, good evening. Alright, let's get started. Alright, I'm Roden and welcome to our Eve Station Trading episode 23. Alright guys, good evening. Alright, let's get started. Alright, I'm Roden. Double music there. Alright, so pretty busy first 7-10 days to the war, so definitely been seeing a lot of signals of that in the market, so that's pretty interesting. So let's get started where we normally start, which is our prediction reviews. We had some pretty strange things that we called out from last week, but I guess it kind of makes sense, and it was still like the very beginning of the war. So yeah, let's take a look. One of the first things we called out was a buy on Intosis Link 2, which kind of makes sense, right? Oh wow, look at that. The way it looks right now is actually how it looked like right before I made a note for this to be a buy. So that's pretty interesting. See how it actually looks in the charts. See, it's pretty strange. It runs on a really tight trade channel. I'm not sure if that's mostly because of the parts that are used to produce this. Probably. That's worth investigating. But as you can see right now, there's maybe half of one page for sell side on Intosis Link 2s. That's pretty crazy. All right, the next thing we covered on our buys from last week is just to observe covert ops cloaking device 2. We'll see. That'll be interesting. It was actually it was flippable from last week, so yeah. Pretty much the same margin, 4.5 to 4.9. All right, some pretty wild outliers on the tail. I've been seeing this crazy outlier. I don't know if this is actually bound to how the graphs are made. But I've been noticing this really crazy downchain channel in a few items, especially in minerals. Actually, I'm not sure if that's actually legit or if that's something with how it's graphically represented. Yeah, that's really a thing. That's really all we called out for buys from last week. I even made otherwise hesitant on a lot of things. I guess so. That would have been the very conservative way to go about it, to be honest. All right. Now let's go to our sells from last week. Hopefully, I'm coming through just fine here. Cells, we got a lot of this is, so this is the components. Tungsten carbide armor plate. Let's find the category first, be easier. All right, it's finally crossed the so the 20-day, I'm sorry, the 5-day moving average finally crossed through the 20-day moving average, but it crosses it quite high. So, I mean, if we have this, if you happen to have this on stock, I'd still sell this. I think there's still time to capture this on the high end of the pricing. I'd continue to sell this if you happen to have this. It's not letting up. Actually, this is kind of interesting because this actually leads into one of the items that we're going to be talking about today as to why it's probably crossing, why the moving averages are crossing at such a high price point. All right, next one is actually so basically all of the racial armor plates, or almost all of them. Next one's the titanium one, titanium diaborite armor plate. Titanium, I think that's called Dari. Yep. Same thing, sorta, kinda. So from the mania of the high price action, it's drawing back down. But this one didn't quite signal. Actually, well, sorta. It sorta signals a drop in value with the outliers, with just the way the downchain channel is like really wild right now. So, but I think the moral of the story here is it was too high and now it's starting to draw back to more reasonable pricing. All right, next one's Ferrite Carbide composite armor plate, so the Minmatar one. So a lot more modest, a lot more modest. It didn't have quite the mania of tungsten, which is really weird. People must have been making this stuff locally in Nullsec, I would imagine. This or whatever, right? Whatever can be created with this. Unless the claws actually were already on hand for a lot of these Nullsec entities for the Sov wanding. Oh, hey, Matterall. All right, from last week we didn't really call out the Galenta variant, so let's take a look how it looks like right now. Maybe it picked up. I didn't see anything Galenta anything that would have probably caused an increase in price, but let's take a look. All right, now it picked up. It's a good thing we looked. Now it picked up. That's good. Let's see how the pricing looks. 13.5 to 15.2. Dude, you can literally flip this. 12% difference before taxes for an advanced component. Wow, dude, that's huge. If you happen to be sitting on this, or you're able to actively watch this to flip, I'd totally do that. I'd totally do that. All right. Next item we called out from last week. Interceptors. Like all race interceptors last week were actually looking really, really good. I'm curious to see how the pricing may have drawn back down, coming off of like we have to buy all the things. It's wartime, which is always kind of crazy because I don't know. It seems like it's so unprepared. Like it's showing unpreparedness. If you when I see stuff like that, like because it's probably not being caused by actual like doctrine purchases. It's probably being caused by people kind of like like market people in general, like kind of messing it up. All right, Crusader's still looking good, showing a lot of sell. A lot of sell signals, rather. Not a crazy amount of volume, so it's probably just not a lot of people getting matched by orders. That's probably what's happening. Malediction's still a bit more conservatively rising. Crow's not bad. It's good. It's steadily creeping up there. Not a lot of crazy volume behind it. That's something will probably see a lot of the price action looks like a lot of people matching the sell orders versus dumping into buy orders, which makes a lot of sense, especially if they've increased in value. Raptor looked like it was about to go down, they picked right back up. At least towards the tail end, it's not that much more crazy volume, which is fine. I'm surprised actually that the Galantis ones picked up. They seem to have seen the least amount of action in the interceptor line. Let's see if they picked up. Yeah, it looks like it did. Looks like it did. Aries definitely. Not necessarily on the pricing, but more on the volume. So most volume today, it's like in a 7 to 10 day span, we've reached peaks, and one of them was today's. That's cool. Tyrannus is steadily going up there, steadily increasing volume. That's pretty. Why Tyrannus? Why Tyrannus? That's interesting. Probably, I'm not sure if that's for soft bonding or is it anti-soft bonding. It's probably anti-soft bonding. Claw is showing drop in value now, which makes sense. This is a common reaction to how quickly it rose in price. Yeah, that's to be expected though. Same thing with the stiletto. Same price action, but not nearly as aggressive. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Next one we called out for cells from last week. 5 MN micro warp drive Tech 2. And this makes sense, especially when you figure that accompany the interceptors, right? All right, that's pretty interesting graph. So it looked like from where we called it out, probably like right around here, it just continued to get up there. But now it's in a pretty high value, relatively high value trade channel, with the median prices placing themselves at the top end of the downchain channel. So definitely way more matched sell orders than dumping into buy orders for even flip scenarios, which makes sense, right? It's going to be a high commodity item, and that's further supported by the evidence that there isn't a great change in the volume right here. The pricing, is it even flippable? Not really. Not really. Hmm. 8.5% before taxes. That's actually not bad for Tech 2. Really not. It's really not bad for Tech 2. I imagine there's just so much more action on matching sell orders that you're this made. Although the margins look pretty decent, this probably is a futile exercise. Because you can legit like watch this like a hawk. And finally, we called out bombs. It's null sex stuff, right? Bombs kind of make sense. Here's if there's been increased action on bombs. There wasn't a whole lot last week, but I would imagine it'd be something reasonable to put some money into. I would think. Not even a full page for concussion bombs. That's interesting. Boom! That's why. Concussion bombs are hot. That's good. That's really interesting, actually. Why concussion bombs? Why concussion bombs? Kinetic, okay. Why kinetic damage? Electron bombs, decent trade channel. Not crazy volume though. Block breaker, no one really cared. Look at that, man. Oh my goodness. That really straight and narrow trade channel for the last 90 days, just about, except for this little outlier right here. Scorch actually might be going down into a lower value trade channel. Is it gonna stay there though? I probably wouldn't buy this. I wouldn't bother placing buy orders for this. I think I'd continue to sell this, to be honest, if I happen to have a whole bunch of this stuff on stock. Shrapnel's pretty, to be honest, all over the place. It doesn't have the same urgency as, say, the concussion bombs. Weird concussion bomb, like kinetic damage. Why do we need a lot of kinetic damage in the field right now? I can't think of any particular reason, to be honest. That's an interesting increase for the void bombs. Really, void bombs. Okay. Okay, sure. What does the void bomb do? Radiates an omnidirectional pulse upon detonation that neutralizes a portion of the energy in the surrounding vessels. Okay. That kind of makes sense. So it was like nice trade channel, boom! But it's like such an outlier though. It's like, let's see, I'm curious if this even has a full page. Well, it does have a full page. It does have a full page, okay. That's a really nice margin though. 900 to, well, that's 10%-ish. 10%-ish, that's not bad. And focused void bomb. Still kind of running on the same price action from last week. Nothing too significant. Side. The void bombs are definitely much more popular versus the focused void bomb for some reason. Okay. I'm cool with that. All right, so that's our review for our buys and sells from last week. So something pretty interesting. I don't know if this actually was already happening from last week, but I definitely noticed that Cal Mill, Caldari Militia from Faction Warfare, have reached tier 2, and it's not a rinky-dink tier 2 either. It's like it's kind of a well-seated tier 2. 23.6%, and what's even more significant is they're coming up, and Galente's actually come down from its very solid hold of tier 3 and up for the last, God, I don't know, close to a year, if not more now. So what's prompting this? I don't know what's prompting this. It could just be the kind of like the action of, people getting complacent, people getting bored, people are moving out of Galente Militia because it's not as exciting anymore, and that's pretty common player movement, the actual the players moving around their characters and going in and out of faction warfare. That's actually quite common. It's just for this go around with the Citadels, it really took a long time for it to really kick in. Now that's just me from the outside, kind of making an observation just based on this graphic, right? I am in faction warfare, but I'm a solo guy, and that's kind of my premise there. I'm a kind of old school solo faction warfare player, so I'm not very keen on the politics around faction warfare. It's not because it's kind of tough to follow, and at the same time, it's kind of pointless. Because it's like people are trying to, I don't know, like it doesn't make sense to have such crazy amounts of politics and like null-sec style social play in faction warfare when it's not the same thing. It's not. People want to feel important and stuff, I guess. Oh, Eve on your news. What's up, man? Going to buy Nomad. Oh, I sold my Nomad like months ago, man. I just wasn't getting a lot of action out of it. I sold that one in Charon, actually. All right, so what does this mean for trades? If you were like me as a Caldari faction warfare player and literally just holding on to your LP, not exchanging it for nothing, now is a really good time to consider maybe letting some of that out. Maybe letting some of that out, and that's gonna work nicely into what we actually are calling out this week. Some really big margins on these items too. Galente Master Race, Eve Onion News. Yeah, I think they are. I think from a objectively, as far as the PvP abilities of their ships and how they're commonly fit and stuff like that, I think they definitely are a good PvP Galente Master Race. Yeah, I think that's legit. I absolutely think it's legit. All right, so before we get started on our what to buy, what to sell, which is actually this week's actually a really, like, at least for me, pretty exciting thing to look into the markets this week. So we talked about Calmel reaching tier two. I don't have the ability to look at it right now, but I'm curious to see how Amar is doing. I imagine maybe they may not be a tier two, but maybe getting up to it too. They tend to kind of work together. All right, I'm gonna link this article to you guys. That's probably the best way to do it. It's actually a very well written article. When you news, well, I gotta speak truth sometimes, or I'll end up like that in my own little world. That's true, man, dude. Like I can't live that guy's life, man. I can't live that guy's Eve life. No way, I can't do it. It seems fancy, right? There's no way I can do it. All right, guys. So this is an article by INN, and it talks about if you're a market guy. This is actually super important to you right now. This should be pretty important to you. Not just in the immediate sense, but down the line. I think this is going to be really important down the line. It'll set a precedent. So, Scuffling Perimeter, PanFam versus the Imperium. So, what's going on? If you took a break in the last 6+ days or something, and you had buy orders, sell orders in the PanFam market for Azar, you might want to double check your stuff. Just saying. You might want to double check your stuff. And the reason I say that is, you just lost the ability to adjust your market orders. So that sucks. Let's. So you're not gonna see it anymore. Shouldn't be because they're oh, it's still right, so Pandemic Horde's market for Desart in Perimeter has been reinforced, and it's been reinforced all the way down to the. I think they've just finished armor, so it's down to the last timer, which is hull, and it comes out this Monday. It's gonna be amazing. This is amazing to me. All right. So we got the Imperium basically declaring war on Pandemic Horde for the purpose, or one of the purposes, is to actually attack their market for Desart. This is huge. And the reason this is huge is for the longest time, this is not just apart from on top of the fact that this is PanFam structure. Mr. Pat31 says, "Oh boy, tie-dye will be coming Monday, boys." Actually, that's a really good question. I don't think there was that much tie-dye in the last Perimeter Fortizar engagements, but then again, this isn't PanFam versus the rest of the world, right? So could there be like crazy amounts of tie-dye? It's probably going to be better managed being high sec, being close to being Perimeter itself. I'm more than certain it's going to be better managed versus, you know, ass and nullsec space somewhere. Alright, so just looking at the active wars that Pandemic Horde has, make sure I can actually show this properly. So basically, all the elements of Imperium have declared war on them. Makes sense. Makes sense. So why hit Pandemic Horde or Pandemic Horde's market Fortizar? Because it is a genuine source of income for them. And we've always harped on, oh, if you own one of the Fortizars in Perimeter or any of the large trade hubs, that's it's an ISK faucet. Like, yeah, sort of, kind of. But at the same time, Pandemic Horde, I think, has gone through a lot of trouble to actually thin out the field and be one of the few structure holders in Perimeter. You know, it's not an easy feat, but at the same time, they have the ability to bully people around. So because of their sheer numbers, and it's in the name, right? The name. So, some people might say, "Oh, why? You know, is the Fortizar is practically lost. They've given up on all the timers." But at the same time, if you look at, you know, if you refer back to that article, and if you look at the battle reports, they're not wipeouts. They're not wipeouts. They're competitive, you know. So, but at the same time, if you really want to make an effort, you should, you know, this is the time to do it. On Monday is the time to do it. So one of two things could potentially happen. If Pandemic Horde and PanFam believe that the structure is worth saving, then they should come in force. If they don't believe it's worth saving, they're probably just gonna be there for good fights, and just let Imperium take their structure. Just let them take it. What I'm really curious about is what's going to happen afterwards, because then that's one big player in the structure game gone, and I can't, at least during the duration of this war, I can't imagine them being able to erect another structure, at least under their obvious name. But it's easy enough to figure out who owns what, though, you know. Mr. Pat31 says Horde will defend it, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, man. Eve being Eve, it's I've stopped becoming surprised when people just let things die because people have too much money to bother. You know what I mean? So I think if anyone is in the position of having way too much money for what they do, these guys, yeah. Yeah, it's so easy to make money these days, man. It's they've made their profit already. So if they can do another method to make money, and that's gonna be more sustainable during wartime, yeah, they'll probably do that versus having an obvious target and continuously having to, because then it becomes a strategic. It doesn't promote good strategy, right? To constantly having to have your forces go back and forth, war zone perimeter of all places, war zone perimeter, war zone perimeter. hope you, if you are in Horde, Mr. Pat 31, I hope you guys do come out in force, but we'll see. This is the fact that it's just such an obvious, like, it wouldn't make sense to defend it. It honestly wouldn't make, I don't know. To me, it wouldn't make sense to defend it. Unless you guys are okay being engaging in multiple fronts like that, like consistently. But I'm not in Horde. I don't know. I don't know what you guys are, into. So, well, hopefully you guys have a good time on Monday. I don't know. It's just being in like the circles of marketeers and traders. It just that whole nonsense owning structure under that obvious name didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense. But that's just me. What does that mean? Let's say that's kind of just. So let's say that that the Panafam Fortizar gets destroyed. Who's left? I choose you. That's it. I choose you. That's it. They've cleaned out everybody else. Yeah, they just about That's it. It's really cute. I'm really curious as to how that plays out. There's gonna be definitely while the war is happening, I think there's gonna be some elements that's gonna fall back into these dang structures. That's kind of cool, actually, to have that facet of it. All right, just a quick investment group update. So our investment Discord's actually been quite quiet. But that's just kind of the way it is, But there's been some rumblings of new investment opportunities from some of our guys. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's one of the main reasons I haven't done a whole lot of trading myself. I'm reserving those funds to actually dump into investments. So for obviously, a lot of the investments that I've been seeing have been revolving around one way or another, the refineries, right? So I'm a little cautious when it comes to those types of things, to those types of investments that are basically running on the concept of a land rush. It's such a feast or famine type scenario. So it can really there's only like two ways that it can go, right? It become really, really successful because you talk to the right people, you've set everything up, you've done your math, and you've ensured that you have safe access, or at least relatively safe access to do whatever it is you need to do to make back your capital, pay back your investors, and keep some profit for yourself. Whatever time frame that actually means for you. For something like and then the counter to that would be you miss one of those steps and you're done. You're done. You blew the money that was given to you, and there's no recovering. Or at least there's no easy way to recover. Actually, that's what I should say. So this drops in winter. We have no hard date yet. I don't think so. We don't have a hard date yet as far as when the refineries are going to come in. We already have an idea of how we're going to do the transition. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen, right? I imagine that a lot of our operators that are intending to go into this type of investment, I would be hard pressed to guesstimate that there probably isn't a single operator that's going to be needing any less than 50 billion ISK to start an operation from scratch. I can't imagine it costing any cheaper than that. No way. So we'll see. I'm really, really curious and excited about how that pans out. as far as what kind of angle these our operators kind of take on exploiting the refinery thing. And another thing to consider too, especially with this war happening, and I'm pretty sure that elements of this war have got to do with down the line moon ownership, refinery ownership, and the ability to move the stuff, have clear logistics lines back to empire or local production to keep the war machine going. Right? So I'm really curious how that plays out. It's pretty exciting times, man. Super exciting times. Something new, but it's fundamentally new. It's not just like a ship skin or other bullshit that we've been getting the past few months. You know, like it's like super superficial items. You know, it's great to actually be experiencing fundamental change again. So pretty exciting. I don't think we have any questions of the week. Let me double check. I think so. Yep, no new questions. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, even a lot as far as Eve Media is concerned, there's basically only two things happening right now: war stuff and the tournament. That's it. You know, I think we have one more week of the tournament, and that's it. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes, man. It's been great storylines so far. I think so, at least. So great job to the ER folks that had that really brilliant production of the tournaments. And then now the commentators are in Iceland, and we got one more week to go, and hoping that it's going to be a really fun thing to watch when it does happen. All right, so now let's move on to our picks of the week. All right, as you can see, guys, for our buys, lots of two very specific Caldari Navy items, and I'll go into why these things tend to be like. What's the best way to describe that? One of the first things that LP traders tend to gravitate towards. Okay. The first one is Caldari Navy Hornets. These are the light scout drones, just the Navy faction variants. Diablo Chango says, personally, I think EVE-NT did better visually than CCP has this year. I totally agree. I don't know. I think EVE-NT has definitely shown up CCP itself, and it shows how little CCP actually cares, I think, unfortunately. Sorry, they didn't even put up the same amount of resources that they did for EVE-NT, that they did compared to EVE-NT. It doesn't make any sense. It's their game. I don't know why. I'm not sure why they got shown up like that. They might as well legit hire the EVE-NT crew. I think that's what they should do, honestly. All right, before we go into the pricing, let's look at the actual graphs first. So Caldari Navy Hornets. So the only way to get these is exchanging them through the LP store. Okay. So really consistent buy signal. The last couple of probably in the last 2 weeks. Okay. So buy signal, buy signal, buy signal. I'm undervalued. Buy me, buy me, buy me. That's what it looks like right now. Okay, like from here onward, buy me, buy me, buy me. Okay, and you should buy it. You really should buy this. Okay, or at least place the buy order. So what does this price action tell me? It tells me a lot of players that are into LP trading are literally dumping this on matching buy orders. I want to exchange my LP for ISK. Dump, dump, dump. That's what's happening. That's a great opportunity for you because then you can flip it on the back end. As far as now going to flipping, this is a huge margin, guys. Huge. A 38% margin, 38% margin before taxes. That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. Take advantage of this, please. The volume, actually, curious. All right, it's hovering 1,000, 1,500 units per day on the busy days. That's pretty good. You guys really need to get in on that stuff because that price action is gonna die soon. I feel it. It's gonna die soon. It's getting too saturated. No way that it can keep that up. 38% margin? That's nuts. All right, next one, guys, called Dara Navy Warden. It shows very similar activity, okay? That's a sentry. We'll look at the prices, the flipping price later. Same thing. People are literally dumping this on buy side. You guys need to grab this. You guys need to grab this. Okay. So people are just like, oh, dump it, dump it. The conversion's good. Dump it, dump it. That's what's happening, man. Pick it up. You should pick it up. So I'm probably gonna, if the numbers still are okay, I'll probably dump a portion of the LP that I've saved into probably the Wardens versus the Hornets, to be honest. I would dump it on Wardens first before I would on the Hornets. It's a little more compact. ISK to M3 wise. Hey, Voluntario, what's up, man? Now let's look at the flipping possibilities. Probably not nearly as healthy as the other one. $22% before taxes. Whew, that's not bad. That's not bad. Voluntario asks, how many ISK we need to start trading? I started trading years ago. I was trading Tech 1 ammo. The ISK, believe it or not, the ISK is actually not that relevant. What's relevant is actually the percentage gains that you get per trade. That's actually what's more important than the amount of ISK in your wallet. Because the amount of ISK in your wallet is actually only relative to the type of activities you put against that amount. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a percentage thing. It's a percentage thing. At least that's how I see it. Because I'll be honest, like when I was playing with over 100 billion ISK of other people's money, I was literally sinking 100 billion ISK in like less than 30 orders. Can you imagine? It's like I have 62 billion actually. Oh, you're set. Are you set, man? If you want to go total lazy mode though, you should probably find people to just invest that 62 billion ISK in Voluntario. That's probably to be honest, I've found that to be way less stressful, and it gives me a chance to talk to people and find out what they're doing, but not like in a creepy spy sort of way, but just to be genuinely inquisitive. There's nothing creepier than market people trying to figure out what other market people are doing. To be honest, like for the purpose of like trying to outpace their operation or something like that. That's like super creepy because you have to ask like kind of pretty intimate questions based on the operation. All right, so kind of same scenario with the Caldari Navy Wardens. So why do people tend to dump the, or so why are the drones, by drones I mean like collectively the drones, light drones, medium drones, sentries, right? Why do these tend to be the first signal of a major sellout for LP? It's because the cost of conversion of these are quite cheap. Oftentimes, because the Tech 1 variants are cheap. So usually it's just Tech 1 variant plus ISK plus LP. For a lot of the more like higher value exchanges, you're gonna need more than just. Now it doesn't apply for every. I think they're one of the cheaper conversions just as far as what you need to actually exchange it for. It's the cheaper conversions are the drones for the most part. That's why they tend to be the first items to actually be dropped into they're the first wave of sellouts. Think about it that way. And then as the increase in the LP progresses, you'll see more. Instead of action on drones, you'll start seeing action on modules, action on ships, and finally action on implants. Implants tend to be the last like sign of like total LP domination because some of those conversions are super expensive from a material requirement perspective. Super expensive. And not just that, it takes a while to flip them sometimes. Because some of them are not necessarily popular because they're very, very narrow scope of an implant. All right, next one I called out for a buyer sterile conduits, and I've called this out before, but before I actually let's look at that, and then let's look at the other items in the same category, the other advanced planetary items, or the advanced PI items rather. So when I was looking at this, the other materials looked kind of flat. Let's look at sterile conduits first, then we'll look at the rest. Really wide or relatively wide Donchian channel, and the 5-day moving average below the 20-day moving average, but it's starting to kind of sneak up there. So it might be a good opportunity for a flip for an up. How much would you get back from this? No more than 15%. Let's see how flippable this is right now. That's 7% before taxes. If you have the patience, I'd buy it and actually wait. Place the buy order, then wait. It's pretty feasible for it to hit 1.4 again. It's hit it consistently on all these peaks. So yeah, buy it at 1.1 or close to it, and sell it at 1.4. It's pretty good. Let's check that out. Yeah, you're looking at around 20% range potentially. Can actually reach that? I think it can, especially with the when the rest of the game basically goes onto a refinery building mode. All right, so there's a little bit of action in sterile conduits based on potentially action in sterile conduits based on how it appears on the chart. Let's take a look at the other item, the other advanced planetary items. This is really more of a sell sign for the broadcast nodes. That's kind of interesting, the integrity response drones. I wish the trade channel wasn't so high. I'd be afraid to try to flip this. If I would feel like I would already missed the boat on trying to capture this on buy orders. Yeah. If this was, I probably would have acted on something like this, say 3 to 5 days prior. Hey, Mathos the Immortal, what's up, man? The reason I would probably not act on it looks like it's on the verge of actually changing the trend. So it's like a missed opportunity type scenario. That's okay. I mean, opportunities come back. Nanofactory's kind of flat. I wouldn't bother with this. Kind of a wonky trade channel for organic motor applicators. Low volume too. I don't know. It doesn't ooze confidence to me. Let's see if it's flippable. It's that's a bit tight. That's a bit tight. Yeah, that's super tight. I wouldn't. Stay away from this. Unless you know something that most of us don't know, stay away from this. Mathos says, saw the EVNT was streaming. Normally the time is not advantageous for me to watch, but this is a good time. Hey, glad to have you here. Yes, I stay away from this unless you know something. Stay away from organic. Stay away from this unless you know something. This is a really tight trade channel. 1.6, 1.7, yeah, that's too tight. That's what I was telling you guys earlier. Like the rest of them are kind of like it's just really tight. Tight and flat. 2.2 to 2.2, yeah, that's way tight. I don't know. There's not enough volume behind this, man. For Paxis says, so I've done some market manipulation in other games. It's kind of tough to do in Eve. But I've been a little hesitant to get into Eve with Eve because of the sheer volume of tradable items. Absolutely. Should I just pick out a few things that are trending in either direction to follow? That's what I would do. A lot of people kind of, I guess, don't really understand the scope of what it takes to try to do market manipulation. Because of how many faucets are available in Eve, you can't monopolize any item and control its flow into the market as easily as you would think, unless you actually like live in nullsec. And I own over 50% of the moon types that will ever be produced to create this item. That's like legit the only times where that's applicable. 99.9% of the time, just the very phrase market manipulation is a lie. Are you like, you don't know what you're talking about, young man. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Market manipulation, my ass. You ain't fucking doing that shit. Yeah, well, not so much manipulation. Yeah, it's like the wording, right? But before other games, it's totally legit. Here, it's in Eve. It's really, really tough. Using it for revenue generation. Yeah. Hey, Saviak, what's up, man? Yeah, I think it's totally doable. If you're able to play or have the vision of playing out market trends in the scope of several weeks to several months to several years, I think it's possible to eventually be very intimately familiar with an item and all the other activities that contribute to the to the creation and the destruction of the item, to be able to confidently say, I can manipulate this item because I know this. I think that's possible. It just takes time to really get there, though. We talk about sterile condos. That's what I'm actually called out. Wetware mainframes, man. I made so much money on this thing, man. Not anymore, though. I think that's a tradable channel. How Ryan is it flippable now? Not really. Not really. It's one of those focus on buys, capture it, and then focus on sells. That's kind of how you need to. That's the main difference of flipping materials versus flipping modules. A lot of the times, modules you can genuinely do a very simple flip, like simultaneously put buys and sell orders. For materials, especially for PI, especially for minerals, it's more of a focus on capturing buys, and then once the price action changes, then focus on selling. You can't. It's very difficult to actually find an opportunity to do it simultaneously. Yeah, this is way too tight. 5% before taxes? No way. Condor Play says, what moon goos are good to get right now? Let's take a look. Like, especially since we can take a look at it right meow, right meow. Not that one. Talking about Raws? Okay. Hey, Mineral. I think we covered some Raws last week, but we focused on the like the carbides and things like. No. The actually no. What do we look at? Let's just go down the line. There's plenty of time. Let's just go down the line. Atmospheric gases is quite simple, but it periodically sees these crazy spikes. I'm not sure what that spike's all about, man. This is too simple of an item to be seeing such swings. I'm not sure why it does that. It's probably because relative to how easy it is to capture this item, not enough volume ends up in Jita and it becomes really, really wild. That's probably what causes that. Unless you know enough about atmospheric gases or know the picture well enough, I'd probably stay away from this thing. That spike was Arif. Does it have 444 on it? I don't know, man. Hope so. Funny if there's actually 444s in here. Hold on, let me take a look at this shit. I don't see any. Yeah, I mean, David Matterall saying Spike was Aerith. Probably. Or someone like him, yeah. Yeah, the 444s, man. The po. That's totally possible. Those are cadmium last week too. Great volume though. Great consistent volume. Cesium, I think I forget who it was. One of our viewers was actually talking about. I think it was cesium. Oh no, it was cesium and something else that contributed to the creation of one of the processed moon materials. This might be a buy opportunity, Chromium. If you feel if you know the production line enough to know, will it hit 11K again? I don't know. It's actually quite a historical high. Probably not. Cobalt. That's so narrow though. What's that? 3. Actually, no, that's not narrow. 3 to 3.5. Hold on. 3 to 3.2. Take a look anyway. I mean, if you can push volume on this, maybe. I mean, even honestly, guys, earning 2 to 3% on raw materials is actually quite a big deal when you consider the volume that you can play. But this doesn't play with big volume. Look at this, man. It's pretty weak. This, bro. Oh my god. Trade channel. I'd totally play this. I'd play this off the channel. Look at that. 70K to 7, let's say 74K. Yeah, totally. But again, kind of like how you would do the PI, you focus on buys, then focus on sells. On a lot of these, that's kind of the you don't flip. raw materials the same way you flip modules. They behave very differently, and the behavior is tied to the volume. It's a pretty simple one to evaporate deposits. Pretty crazy. That's good volume though, man. That's good volume. Definitely something to watch, if you don't mind. But then when it does retract though the pricing, is it fair enough to anticipate that's going to come back up with such aggressiveness? Probably not, unless something really crazy happens in the war. But I'll be honest, with the refineries, guys, this is kind of like anything can happen, to be honest, you know? I mean, even, you know, unless you really are doing a ton of data mining and have a really good feel for what CCP may end up actually doing, not if you have a good idea of what CCP might actually end up doing versus what they say they're gonna do, and yeah, you're gonna make a lot of money, man. See, all these prices are coming down. I mean, it looks very optimistic the way the new trade channels that are forming are quite high, but that doesn't mean it can sustain itself, though. Not always. This is a bit more conservative. I mean, if you don't mind playing the low volumes, this is probably a good buy spot right here for the hydrocarbons. Buy at 1.1. This is flippable already. It's actually flippable. $12% before taxes? Yeah, totally flippable. Hydrocarbons. Check it out. Mercury, not so much. It's definitely showing sell signals. Sell me if you have me. If you can somehow articulate why neodymium would increase in price beyond its current trade channel, it may be worth getting. I'm not sure what level of moon knowledge you'll need to intelligently make that call, but if you can, you should probably buy this. I'd stay away from this. This is too strong. This is straight sell signals right here. But if you have it, you'll sell. And for lithium, a bit flat. Crazy volume here though, but it's on decreased value. We've seen this several times already now, guys. New trade channels emerging that's higher value relative to the length of the chart. That's really good. That's really good. What does that tell me? Shit's about to get expensive. Like in general, shit's about to get expensive. If you're like a bulk buyer of some sort, or you have access to someone who sells in bulk, you might want to consider tapping into that resource. This shit's about to get expensive. Silicates, it could be the emerging of a buy-friendly trade channel. Maybe. Technetium used to be so good. Like, so good. Not so much now. It's a lot more consistent. It lost its volatility. That's what made it so good. It's so volatile. Tholium, we called this last week too. Oh, look. That's a good thing we did. Look at that. It actually bounced right back. David Manero asks, is the bulk trading channel still around? I'm not sure. I never used it, Matterall, but what I do access for bulk trading is my operators that run buyback programs from nullsec. Like, I can easily dump 3 to 8 billion ISK per contract on the hauls that they have. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. But something to consider. I mean, in general, I think things are going to be more expensive, at least right before refineries and probably easily 4 to 6 weeks after refineries. Things are going to be pretty expensive. If I had the ability to control that faucet, right? That faucet being the creation of the moon materials, I'd definitely make sure to squeeze every bit of ISK out of every single one of you people. That's what I would do. Absolutely. Dave Meadow says, how do you find other traders to make deals with? They come to my channel. they hang out in our Discord. Our trade channel, the one that Jushin Dragon actually created for us when I was still trading, like actively managing funds. A lot of the business and basically turned to, instead of me doing trading, it just became me making sure that people can, as much as possible, safely do business with each other. So instead of a trading business, I basically changed my business plan to more of a social business. Yeah. How does the mortal make trade deals? Dude, a lot of these, I'll be honest, Mara, there's so, like, a lot of the big money makers in our channels and the guys who are more than willing to support our operators, like on a whim, drop 70 billion. Because it's a trust thing, right? Oh, this guy made me tons of money 6 months ago. Oh, he's asking for money again. Please take my money. Please take my 10 supers. Please take my 5 titans. It's a lot of people, I think, fail to utilize the social aspect when it comes to dealing with money. Unfortunately, to their detriment. A lot of people don't see that because they get so focused on making money instead of getting to know the people who make the money, right? That's the biggest change that I've done on my operations, being more of a social type versus a money type. And it's caused me to actually get a lot more funding. Oddly enough. Titanium, too low of volume. Kind of spiky though. Maybe something there. Tungsten's so good. Dude. It's showing low right now. You guys should totally get this. So, buy signal on the raw tungsten. Check this out. So let's look at vanadium real quick, then we'll focus on tungsten. Because tungsten's actually a good case to look into. Vanadium, trade channel. Tungsten. So check this out. So buy signal on the raw item. Sell signal on the component. It's crazy. So they're not matching up, right? So there might still be enough juice for this to come up. Maybe. All right, so we showed a little bit of potential on the raws end there, but a lot of it seemed to be the beginnings of trade channels from what we've seen. So it's if you have some background knowledge on it, because I live in nullsec and I know the dudes who pull the moon material, you really need to use that knowledge and couple that with the actual price action. However, I do caution people when it comes to specifically moon materials, because I would say probably less than half of the total volume farmed ever make it to Cheetah. That's just me making an assumption. I have zero data science to back this up. That's just how I think it goes. So if you guys are out there living in nullsec and you actually know people, or have someone explain it to you, the actual production line of this. Because I can only show the charting that I can only show you guys is what's physically traded in Cheetah, and that's it. That's the end of my scope, right? But if you have a larger vision than what I can present to you, you guys really need to, don't be afraid to take advantage of that. Don't be afraid, man. Don't be afraid. Sometimes you're gonna have to just do it. All right, so let's go out to our cells. I call out minerals, but a lot of them do look flat, but there's some minerals actually look pretty good right now. To sell, not to buy, to sell. Not or. ISO's good to sell right now. ISO's good to sell. It looks like it's pulling back from the pricing, but I think it's established itself at a higher price point. So if you happen to have tons of this right now, in compressed ore form or whatever, and you don't mind just putting it out in the market, I'd put it out slowly though. I'd put this out slowly. I think you can extract several cycles of this right here. Megasite really jumped. So it's kind of same thing, guys. So no, not a crazy amount of volume. More of people are just, oh, my Megasite buy orders are not filling. Fuck it, I'm just gonna capture it from sell orders. That's what's happening right now. That's what this picture looks like. Actually, I'm kind of surprised how this looks pretty tame for Megasite, based especially during wartime. This looks super tame. Still probably the volatility may pick up. Yeah, this is super tame. Yeah, that's crazy. Exelon's crazy right now too. Boom, Exelon! If we have just tons of Exelon just sitting around, we should probably sell that shit or do something with it. Do something. Don't just. I think the worst thing you can do right now is sit on Exelon that you physically have. That's probably the worst thing you can do right now. Do something with it. Either build with it or sell it or do something with it. Just make it go away. Make it go away. That's what I would do. More fight, totally sell. I'd sell that. Axiom has been a wild ride, man. The last year and a half, 2 years. And you'll see this a lot. Orange dot above blue line. We've seen this a lot already. Oh, great. Oh, wait. Hey, yeah, good to go. Mathos the Immortal, just, we're here every week, 0100 UTC. I also sent this out, I pushed this in my YouTube channel. So you can always review it then. Brew Crow says, I wish I could get into this kind of thing, but I'm too impatient. And that's what makes it profitable for those who can actually stomach this. You know what I mean? That's what makes it profitable. Like, your impatience contributes to the profitability of this activity. I'll link you the YouTube channel right now, man. I tend to push this out or upload on YouTube same night, so it shouldn't be a problem. Hopefully you'll see, but definitely in the next 4 hours. Impatience equals this. Very well. Yeah, totally, Matt. Totally, because it's so much more prevalent in smaller market hubs too, which we have way more smaller hubs now with the Fortizars and the market Citadel's variants. So yeah, definitely, that's definitely more prevalent. Show wallet, yeah, sure. I don't have much in there right now. I'm rich in friends, man, not ISK. I only have 9.6 liquid. A lot of I think I want to put in 5 to 7 bill for one of the operations that I want to support. So I have to. This is where I found myself like late last week. So I was like, all right, don't make any more trades until you allot that money, then start trading again. I'm very low, man, very low. And the reason I'm low, honestly, is Actually, there isn't really a reason. I've just been not as active with my own trading. I've been definitely more focused on showing the trading versus trading myself, if that makes any sense. Make those emojis. Yeah, I want to learn from you about working on building a market and my core sports are. Actually, the best person to ask as far as that is Jeronica from Eve Mogul. Love you, buddy. Plugging Eve Mogul right now. He's the guy to see. He is the guy to talk to when it comes to the structure, the market, and the overall systems. I don't know of anyone else with a finer grasp of the concepts besides him, to be honest. I'll type out his thing. Yeah, Eve Mogul is a website too. Let me link that. And that's his website right there, Eve Mogul. Great tool. Hit him up, man. If you have questions about that, he's more than welcome. He's more than happy to actually talk to players about what he does and how he does it. We're gonna talk about T3Ds like right now, dude. Like right now. I think we can. Yes, we sure can. We just talked about. We're almost done with the minerals, so then we'll talk about T3Ds. Everything's going up, guys. Same pattern. Check this out. Orange ball of a blue line. Orange ball of a blue line. Titanium, not so much. Actually, I say that, I'm like, holy shit, look at that. Sidrine. That's pretty aggressive, man. That's pretty aggressive. Very aggressive. What's happening? People are in a production rush right now, guys. They're like, just buy the minerals. I don't care how you get the minerals. Just buy them and make shit. So who's doing this? Is it the people in null sec that have production alts in high sec? No. It's marketeers like myself, production guys like myself that are feeling rushed to push product out. That's what's happening. Don't get caught in this. Don't get caught in this mania, guys. You're gonna get hurt. Like, you're legit gonna get hurt. Not you, but your wallet's gonna get hurt. Victor says, Goons Jackdaw Fleece, though, as part of Bjorn Fleet, where he kills 70 of them. Dude, the Jackdaws. Lots of action on Jackdaws even from last week. Crazy. Like, are they really that? Why Jackdaws for one? Is it a tank? I don't know. All right, that covers the minerals. So hopefully, Bruger just like missiles. I think. Yeah, I mean, especially in a heavy tie-dye situation, I imagine they're a lot easier to mess around with, right? It's fire and forget. All right, so don't get caught in this production mania, guys, unless you can really offload your product like quick. Because what ends up happening with this is you'll see a lot of production items get really, really high priced, but don't get actually sold. And people have to then, down the line, because they made too much, have to sell it at a production loss relative to when they made it. And that will be the time to place your buy orders. People are like, oh, I'd like to get at least some of my money back. That's where you come in as the very shrewd buyer of things. T3Ds. Oh, it gets to the good stuff now. Every single one of these guys is like very high priced right now, relatively speaking. Confessors, boom! Almost 70 mil. 46 to 53. It's the low end right now. throughout the last few days, they've been purchased upwards of almost 70 million. The jackdaws. It's coming down, but it did have a very aggressive climb up there. Um, People, yeah, it's actually being matched on buy orders now. Look at that. That's actually pretty good. All right, have a good one, Mathos the Immortal. 61 to 72. That's actually not bad. Pretty, like, genuine increased volume too. That's good. I'm surprised the Hecate's even in this. So, are the T3Ds being used as anti-fighters? Is that what the deal is? Be great if someone can explain that. I'm not sure what the roles are out there, to be honest. I've flown them, and I mean they're great for the price and what they are, but to have this kind of demand for them all of a sudden, like, or are they anti? I don't think they can keep up. Well, I don't know. Just regular entire fleets of them. Okay, so it's a very okay. They're their own kind of thing. Small doctrine. Sure, I can see that. Curious if they had a very very specific role, but I guess they're more of a generalized thing. I guess, huh? I mean, if even the Hecates are seeing action, that's something. Yeah, Hecates, I mean, to be honest, I think one of the main reasons they're not nearly as popular or as oppressive as the other T3Ds is because they were the last ones to come out, and they actually, I thought they came out pretty well balanced, to be honest. Oh yeah, they really are great solo ships. I've done some solo work in Hecates. They're powerful, man. I'm not sure how they are now, but I'd be compelled to try them again. And of course, Sveeples. Cancer, man. It's such cancer back in the day. All right, yeah, they're definitely every single one of them are seeing a lot of action right now. Brett Thomas is because Hecates use rails. Yeah, I like rails. I mean, I think the very first time I tried Hecates, this was like in the. At least I've fought. I know I've fought and have been linked certain fits and stuff. I've seen people use them as hull platforms too. I thought it was pretty interesting. Last can insta blap, yeah, definitely. Sounds like Galante. Alright, so T3Ds, if you got them, sell them. At the very least, we know that there's a lot of demand for them right now. Alright, and finally guys, command destroyers. Every single command destroyer is actually seeing a lot of action right now too. But take a look at the first one. We've established that tungsten carbides are high priced right now, so that's the MR one, right? The MR ratio plate. Pontifex, very aggressive. Half of a front page for cells on Pontifex. It is literally flying off the shelves. If you have them, and you're okay with selling them, you should probably sell them now. I don't think we can. I mean, let me restart. So I saw this pattern with the Entosis Link 2s, but then it happened again. If you cannot act on the Pontifex now, are you kind of missing on a great opportunity? Probably. David Meadows says, Rocket Jackdaws with a web were actually pretty decent anti-fighter platform. Yeah, because I was thinking that they were actually anti-fighters. That's why I made a note for myself for anti-fighters. I'm glad that actually you guys were able to corroborate what I was kind of thinking. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, if you guys can act on Pontifexes right now, please do. Or if you're, yeah, I mean, you almost have to have the stuff on hand to sell to actually act on this. I hope some of you guys can. That'd be great. Storks are really tight right now. But small bump, that's cool. Brett Thomas says command destroyers are dying in heaps. I imagine so. I imagine so. All the failed bushes out there. Magus. Yeah, I mean that's straight sell orders. Look at that. That's not a big difference. Straight sell orders. 63 to 70. That's kind of tight to flip. Bifrost. Lots of sell orders. That's all sell orders, guys. Look at that. That's hardly. That's not significant volume change. 61 to 72. That's tight. That's tight to flip. Actually, not tight. That's 12. That's 16%. But you're probably not seeing a lot of buys dumped into us. You're probably not seeing a lot of this item dumped into buys. Alright, so we saw a lot of crazy things here. Excavators are cheapening at the moment. Really? Really? Let's take a look. Matching buy orders probably. Yeah, I'd hold on to this if we just happen to have them anyway. I'd hold on to these. I made like I think a dozen of these like maybe a month and a half ago. I'm glad I did when I did. There's no way I wouldn't have been if I made it now. I wouldn't have produced it at a profit. I don't think. All right, gotta wait for the goons to go back to mining. All right, well, so we've been at it actually for like an hour and a half, guys. So didn't mean to take this long, but so hopefully I was able to show you guys some pretty cool items there, some potential volatility that you guys can actually take advantage of. Fiber says excavators will pick up in price once the wars are over. Yeah, probably. It makes sense, right? So hopefully, you guys. So a lot of these items, they're very volatile. So what should your expectations be as a market person throughout this war? Lots of volatility, lots of short-term volatility. I think if you're quick on the draw, I think you can make a lot of money. But in order to be quick on the draw, you kind of have to you need inventory. So I can't help you on the inventory part. That's like that's such a systemic thing, you know. Like, oh, I build stuff, but I only sell it when they're really well priced. Not a lot of people can afford to do that. But if you're one of those people, you're making a lot of money right now. A lot of money right now. Those new fighters come out and greeds will spike like mad. You know, I don't know what the actual what building requirements are. That's worth looking into though, definitely. All right. Well, I think that's really all I got. Unless you guys have any questions, but definitely, I think these items will be a good thing to look into 1 week later to see how long the volatility stays and how long the profitability stays. I think a lot of these items are going to be short-lived, especially if we find ourselves in a position where folks are constantly adjusting their doctrines to be a counter to the enemy. So you might be seeing, maybe not necessarily at the ship level, but probably the module level, as far as changing their fits and stuff like that. Yeah, I can't think of anything else to add right now, but I think that's it. All right, well, that's where we'll end it right now, guys. I should be able to actually push this out to YouTube, so I can, it'll be hopefully easier for you guys to digest. Especially when you have time like a long drive or something like that. All right, well, thanks for everyone. Thanks everyone, and I'll let you guys know when this is up. And I think next week is gonna be really interesting to actually review these items, and it'll probably be a good indicator of how things are going in the war, especially for these types of ships that we just named today. Rather like do what I do, sneak into the FC channels and buy the doctrine before they're announced. That's good. I like that. All right, you guys, how it going?